Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the series on the Panther. You can see I have it covered up with a plastic cover because Scott's already detailed the paint. I don't want to get any kind of dirt or dust on there. But today we're going to completely overhaul the brake system. We're going to do the wheel bearings and seals. And I'm also going to do the flexible rubber transmission cooler lines. So let's go ahead and get started. So you can see over here on the bench, I've got all of my parts ordered. Let's see, here is the original ATE. This is what came on the car. We have the ATE rear calipers. Actually, I think what came on the car, Mercedes had two manufacturers, ATE or ATE and Bendix. And the cars just came with either whatever was on the shelf at the factory that day. Sometimes you see ATE, sometimes you see Bendix, but these are ATE. Brand new, these are not remanufactured. There's the rear, here's the front. There's another one in the box there. There's my pins. Let's see, here's our bearings. I got two bearing kits, outer bearing, inner bearing. Here's our seal. Here's a little radio interference pin that clips in to the end of the spindle. We have our brake pads. Let's see, over here we have brake hoses rear, brake hoses front, and here are the, let me move this out of the way. Here are the transmission, the flexible hoses that connect from the transmission lines to the bottom of the radiator. Those look to be original on the car, so I'm going to change those. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, I forgot to show the new rotors. Let's see, that is the front rotors. There's another one in the box, and the rear rotors. These are also ATE, brand new. Just took them out of the box. All right, so now let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I want to clean these up in the parts washer, refinish them in the semi-gloss black, and then I want to detach our original hubs from the rotors. And you can see here's our old bearing. We're actually just going to toss those old bearings because we're putting in new bearings. And then once I detach this rotor, there's bolts around the back. And there's the rear seal. We can knock that seal out and get that rear or inner bearing out of there. And then we can clean up our hubs. And I like to refinish the hubs also in semi-gloss black. So let's go ahead and start with that. Okay, to get these hubs off of here, you need something with a lot of torque. You can get these at Harbor Freight. They're like 1,700 foot-pounds. They're perfect for this job. Just make sure it's seated. There you go, because the Germans use blue Loctite on these, which we're also going to reapply the blue Loctite. We'll just there she goes. All right, then this is our hub, and guys, no reason to ever change a hub. This is not really a wear item. You can clean this up. We'll get all this old grease out of here. See that stuff? And get these cleaned up and repainted and put some new bearings in. And we'll get rid of these old rotors. All right, once you have the hubs off, we want to go ahead and put the hub in a vise like that. And then we have our bearing seal right here. Now, we're going to get that out with a seal puller. It goes in here like this. But those are typically in there way stronger than what a seal puller can do. So first you got to take a chisel, and we want to tap around the edges and hammer in. There it comes. There we go. All right, we got that out. And there is our old original bearing. We'll toss that. All right, let me knock out the one on the other side, then we'll clean these up in the parts washer. Okay, we're at the parts washer. First, we want to get the majority of this old grease out of here, like that. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and clean this up in the parts washer. Get the rest of it out of here. Okay, those are ready to accept new grease and new bearings. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. I also want to clean up the dust shields here, and we want to refinish these. Okay, we got everything cleaned up. Now we just need to dry it off and take it out back for paint. All right, if you happen to have an old 126 parts car, it makes a great paint booth. And the cap for the paint can goes perfect over to cover your bearings. And the paint cap also works perfect for the inner bearing race. You don't want to paint that. All right, we have our front rotors. These are ATE rotors, same as the ATE calipers. We have our inner seal, our inner bearing, outer bearing, and the new dust cap and the radio interference pin for both sides of the car. Now, guys, for grease, I use Valvoline, Napa, Mercedes, Timken. It doesn't matter. Just get a good quality name brand wheel bearing grease, and that's going to be fine for your car. These bearings, Mercedes doesn't make special bearings or special grease. So there's no need to spend the extra money on like genuine Mercedes grease. That just doesn't make any sense. So to pack these bearings, you want to get some grease on your hand there, and you want to pack it. I hit it on my palm and pack it up into the bearing rollers. That takes a minute. All right, that looks really good. See how it's all packed up in the wheels and has squirted out the sides and all packed it up in there. We'll set that down. We'll just go ahead and knock out the other ones and come back in a minute. Okay, guys, here are our beautifully refinished hubs. Doesn't that look nice? So what I want to do is turn the hub over, and we're going to put a glob of grease down here in the hub. There we go. Just be generous with it. A little more over on that side. All right. All right, that'll be good. And now I'm going to set in my inner bearing. It only goes in one way. There we go. And we're going to put our seal over the top of it. And let me show you how to put this seal in. All right, guys, this is a very technical process here, and it involves a complex aftermarket tool called a 2x4. And you just set that 2x4 right there. And we're going to hammer that seal in. A little bit more on this side. That is very nice. Now I'm going to check my bearing. All right, good. and there we go, guys. That's how you press in a seal. And the bearing still turns freely. Nothing's binding. So let's go ahead and get our other one in. Okay, we're not going to put the outer bearings in yet, because before we do that, we want to reattach the hub. Now, I'm sorry, reattach the rotor to the hub. Now it goes on like this, and you have two sets of holes. Let me show you. Okay, see, you have one hole in the center, but then one hole is like out towards the edge. You want to use the holes in the center. That's how you attach the rotor to the hub. The ones that are out on the edge are actually for the other side where your wheel bolts into your hub. So let's get some blue Loctite and go ahead and get these bolts back in here. All right, and we want to start these by hand. Little blue Loctite. Starting by hand to make sure they're threading in there smoothly. All right, we've got them all started by hand with our Loctite on there. We'll run them down with the high torque impact. All right, there we go. There we go, guys. Look how nice that looks. Now we can go ahead and put in our outer bearing, and then we'll set this aside until it's ready to go on the car. I'll go ahead and put a little grease right in here. Now, Mercedes also says to put a little grease in the grease cap that goes over here. So we put a little grease in there too. Now, let's set this aside. We'll finish the other one, and then we'll start putting stuff back on the car. Okay, guys, there you can see our old brake hose. And we're going to get up here with an 11 millimeter. We're going to crack that loose. And let me show you how I do this. I keep my, my new brake line. I put a little cap over the end. So we're going to quickly connect this so we don't lose all the brake fluid from the master cylinder reservoir. So let's go ahead and crack this loose. There we go. I wasn't on there too bad at all. That's what I like about Southern cars. Ask somebody who works on Northern cars what they have to do to get brake lines off. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this line, or set our caliper right there so it doesn't fall on my foot. All right, let's take our old caliper off. There we go. And let's get this new one screwed on as quick as we can here. There we go. Boom. And we'll put it back through there. There we go. See, we didn't really lose too much fluid, and we have a cap on the other end. So we'll go ahead and tighten this up. All right. We'll just snug that up a little. All right, now what I want to do, we'll get this out of the way. I want to go ahead and attach our new caliper to the end here before I mount it. Now, before we mount it, let's go ahead and put our dust shield on. Okay, guys, we have our refinished dust shield. And these little bolts require Loctite. I've got blue Loctite on them, just like Mercedes does. And you don't need to crank these down. They really don't need to be that tight. Go ahead and get these. All right. Now, let's go ahead and put our hub and new rotor on. And I like to just take a little wheel bearing grease. Just put it right around there. Up here where our seal rides. There we go. On there, let's wipe away the grease from our threads. And we can put on our spindle nut. All right, let me get that. Okay, here's our spindle nut. We have a flat side and a not flat side. There we go. Flat side is what goes on the spindle. And you want to do these hand tight just to take out the play. For example, see, there's play. So we want to just do it hand tight. A little bit of play. No play. Still a little bit of play. A little bit tighter. There we go. That's perfect right there. Now we tighten down our lock nut. And I want to put in the radio interference pin on the end of our spindle. And I can see the old one is broken off in there, so I need to pull out that old piece. There we go. Usually do that with some little pliers. Needle nose. There it is right there. There it is. There's what's left of it right there. And here is our new one. So we can put that in there. Sometimes you have to tap these in here. I'm just going to take my Allen, put it right over the tip. There we go. And now we can put on our dust cap. And we can just tap that guy on here. There we go. And don't worry, we'll wipe all the grease off here. Okay, now let's do that. Let's wipe the grease off and get our rotor on there. Okay, here's something very important about 1/16 calipers. If you go on the parts website, they're going to tell you a 1/26 caliper, and that is not going to work. And if you notice, the 1/16 caliper, let me get this up here. Right there, you see this little like notched area? There we go. That little notched area is to actually clear the edge of the hub right here. It's just a little notch they have in the caliper. So you got to make sure you order calipers that have that notch, and those are unique to, I think they changed it in like late '79 to a little bit different shape right here. Okay, got it. Damn, that was a messy one. Usually I can get it threaded a lot quicker, but there we go. All right, let me wipe all that off. Brake fluid's nasty, guys. Wipe all that stuff off of there. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to attach our little bracket right here to the dust shield. So I'm going to have to take off the rotor again, attach that, and then put it back on. So let me do that real quick. The joys of working on a 1/16. Not quite as easy as a 1/23. All right, there we go. We can finally get our caliper on there. And the bolts come with a blue Loctite from the factory. However, I'm going to put just another little dab. There we go. And let's get this caliper mounted. There we go. That's going to go up here. And guys, watch. See the little cutout right here on the caliper? How it fits underneath the hub. There we go. You see how that fits under the hub? That's very important. A 1/26 caliper will not work on here. And when we're done tightening this down, we'll put our brake pad wear sensor back on here, put our pads in, and our new sensors. Okay, now we're going to put our brake pad wear sensor back on here. And that is just a little 10 millimeter that screws right into the back there. Tighten that guy down, and then we'll put in some new sensors and pop in our brake pads, and we will be done with this side of the car. I'll go knock out the other side, and then we'll move to the rear of the car. Okay, these are ATE or ATE brake pads. Go ahead, slip these guys in here. And ATE brake pads are the easiest to put on. I've showed this in several videos. You have this pin, and it has like a lead crush washer, or it's just like a soft metal that crushes and holds the pin in there. See if I can do this on camera. We'll put this guy right here. That's a retaining bracket. And then we'll push our pin through there. And got to get it to go through the other side there. There we go. And here's our other one. Got to push this down, get it to go around there. And there we go. And now you got to tap these in with a little punch. You see it come through? Yeah, I don't think you guys can see that. And there you go. Those pads are in. Now let's put our new wear sensors in. Okay, if you look closely, see there's a little bitty hole right there. And where's the other one? There you go. The other one is right there. See that little hole right there? And that is what the brake pad wear sensors plug into. And they look like this. See that little pin that plugs in? So you can come over here. Let's see. There you go. Oops, goes that way. There we go. Get it into the hole there. Then it just snaps down. And then you just bend it around. And you plug it into your harness, just like that. All right, see, there's our other one right there. And we'll plug that one into our harness there. There we go, guys. Straighten that back out. And there we go. Brand new brake lines, calipers, sensors, pads. Cleaned up the hub, new bearings, new seal, new rotor. Refinished the factory semi-gloss black control arms. I'm sorry, not control arm, steering knuckle. And again, refinished all the original suspension under here. New shock, that was already installed by the previous owner. And we did new upper control arms. And this side of the vehicle is done. So let me wipe some grease off here, get some brake cleaner, but I'm going to go knock out the other side and then we're going to move to the rear of the vehicle. All right, we are done on the passenger side. All refinished. Looks good under here. Hub, bearings, seals, calipers, rotors, sensors, pads. It is all done, you guys. Upper control arm. All right, now we're done with the front of the car. Let's move to the back of the car and do the rear brakes. All right, here we are at the back of the car. I can see that's an original caliper, and there we go. That's why you change a 40-year-old brake system, guys. See that little crack right there? So we're gonna go ahead, get this brake line off, and caliper, rotor, all of it is coming off the car. And guys, it's just a 19 millimeter back here. Take these bolts out. And there we go. That caliper will come right off of there. All right. After a few taps, I got that broken loose. And what we want to do is look at our, oh yeah, there's plenty of pad. So that's your brake pad, your emergency brake pad. And it is very thick, almost like it barely ever saw any use. All right, so we don't need to change these pads, but what I want to do is sand around here and then put some anti-seize on it. That way, when we put our new rotors on here, it won't, you know, kind of seize or stick on there. That's what had happened. So let me go ahead and knock that out. This is just 100 grit. Now let's put some anti-seize on there, and that will keep those rotors from seizing like that. All right, we'll just coat it in there and around our hub right there. There we go. Now for the next guy that has to do this job, those things are just going to slip right off. All right, let's go ahead and get our new rotor. And you notice there's a dowel pin right there, and that's where the lines, right there. Now, let's go ahead, change out the caliper and hose. And just like the fronts, it's 11 millimeter back here. There we go. And let's get our new hose in there. All right, let's go ahead and get our caliper, spin it on there, and get it mounted. Ooh, got it. First try. Bam. That front one gave me some trouble. I spilled fluid all over myself. All right. And this is going to go up here. Little baby caliper. Let's get our bolts. Now, again, Ate puts the blue Loctite on the bolt for us, so we don't have to apply anymore. And we'll go ahead and get one mounted in here. All right, first I just want to hit all that with some brake cleaner. Get that cleaned up real good. Get that brake fluid off here. Brake fluid's nasty stuff. Here we go. And we have the Ate pads that go with the Ate calipers and Ate rotors. But as I was saying, you don't have sensors in the back. Those are just on the front of the car, because your fronts are going to wear quicker than your rears anyway. And you got the... There we go. And we'll stick this one through here. Okay, now let's tap those in with a punch. There you go. And we are done. Let's go ahead and knock out the other side, and then we'll be done with the brake system. Okay, there we go. Driver's side is knocked out. All new brake system. So the next thing I need to do is bleed the brakes, but that completes all the entire brake system is brand new. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to go under the car and change the front flexible transmission cooler lines. This is a common item to change on these cars. Let me show them to you. All right, here we go. This is like an original crusty line right here, and I want to go ahead and change that, and I'll show you the new line that we use. These are reinforced with like a steel braid around them. That way, like if you have a broken belt or something like that, it'll hit that steel braid and it won't slice through the hose and dump all your transmission fluid. So let's go ahead and get those installed. All right, guys, if you're quick, you can change these with only losing minimal transmission fluid. So first you got to put a 17 millimeter on there to hold it still. This one's a 19 millimeter. And we'll crack that loose. And then we'll crack this one loose. Let's work it around a little bit. Yeah, that's the original one. That's been on here a long time. All right, there that one goes. And here this one goes. Now, we'll just get it up there real quick. All right, that one's threaded. There we go. And then that one's threaded. And I lost probably about a shot glass worth of transmission fluid, because this transmission was recently serviced. You can see how bright red the transmission fluid is? But that's all I lost there. Just a few little drops there. If you do it really quick, you don't have to really add that much fluid back to the system. All right, let me get that tightened down. And you don't need to go crazy tight, guys. This is like a compression, it's like a compression fitting. And once it's snug, it's good. All right, there we go. You just want to snug that up. And let's go ahead and get this one. And we'll put our 17 millimeter here so we don't actually bend the transmission line. And that's good, guys. That is done. Let me wipe that off. Awesome. Now I can see the belts have recently been changed on here. I think they did that when they put the new AC compressor in. That's a new AC compressor. But the reason we do this with the braided hose is because if that belt does break, which they all break, you know, after several years they break and you put a new belt in. But what this does is when it breaks and slices down through here, it doesn't slice this line in half. That's why you have the little metal spring around it. I've had that happen to me before on the interstate. It broke and it sliced through my line and it blows out all the transmission fluid, and then you're on the side of the road. So that's what that's for. In this case, if this one busted, you would just lose your AC compressor and you could keep going. So let's go ahead and do the other side. All right, there we go. New transmission cooler flexible hoses. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Redid the complete brake system, transmission flex hoses, wheel bearings, seals, all that stuff. You just saw it. Anyway, the next video is going to be general service, all the fluids and filters. Now, this car recently had service down in Florida. For example, the transmission was already serviced. The fluid's bright red. I am going to do an oil change and probably a fuel filter and power steering fluid. And anyway, that's going to be in the next video. And then we're going to get our wheels back from powder coating. And actually, I already have them back. I'll show them to you now. There we go. Look how beautiful that is. Freshly powder coated with my favorite tires to put on here, the Uniroyal Tiger Paws. And we also have some new center caps that I picked up from RBM Mercedes. Oh, and I got some coolant so we can flush the coolant. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Take care.